What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past few days. We do have a lot of topics to discuss. Firstly, Barcelona this January transfer window do have two priorities, and they have been already set. Firstly, is to bring in Vitor Roque. Of course, we did sign him in the summer. He's expected to be coming in January, but of course, this depends a lot on financial fair play. Will Barcelona be able to register him? That's going to be the main question, but again, the club do want to bring him in January alongside a pivot. Of course, in the last video, I told you guys about the pivot options Barcelona have, Guido Rodriguez, Fabricio Diaz, but a new name has emerged, a Brazilian gem that Deco scouted, which is Gabriel Moscardo, currently playing for Corinthians. Chelsea wanted him for around 30 million euros, but that deal now has cooled down, and Deco wants to sign him for Barcelona. Now, we do have some other updates as well. We have big renewal updates, huge update on Lamine Yamal's contract as well, but two exclusive news. Firstly, Xavi's renewal with Barcelona is officially completed. He will sign a one-year renewal until June 2025, but his salary will be doubled. We have the details on that, and also Barcelona have offered Frenkie de Jong a contract renewal as well. We are expecting it is a deferred renewal offer similar to Ter Stegen, where he will renew but distribute his current salary over the next few years. Remains to be seen right now. Frenkie de Jong will accept that, reject that, or begin negotiations with Barcelona. We do have a lot of general news to talk about as well. The number 10 shirt, was Fizz going to take it? We have updates on Fermin Lopez getting a red card midweek with Barca Athletic. The new pivot for Barcelona right now, who will cover that position if Romeo gets injured? It will be a Danish player. We do have some updates on Pedri as well, his injury, wage bill, health, and also Deco having a meeting with all the scouts at Barcelona. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into this video is sponsored by Number One Foot. Number One Foot is one of the best replica football jersey websites on the market right now. They have a variety of different items at absolutely fantastic prices. For me here today, I'm going to show you guys the training kit from this season. This is the warm-up kit that the players use when they go out for training every single day, pre-games as well. You have here the Spotify logo. They have the club badge on it with the diamond as well. And I also have here one of the sweaters they have from last season. This was the Catalunya version. It feels like I bought this from the Nike store directly. The quality is absolutely unreal. The printing is fantastic. And of course, mainly the prices are unbeatable. And if you use the discount code BOY at checkout, you do get an additional 15% off your final order. That is BOY. Use it at checkout. You get 15% off your order, and all orders above $80 as well will guarantee you free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Click the top link in the description down below and get your new football kits today. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past few days. Now, we're first going to be discussing Barcelona's reinforcement in the pivot position, which is one of the priorities for Barcelona, if not the only priority in the January transfer window. The pivot position for Barcelona at the moment is the only position where we don't have two players in there, and the club are looking to strengthen that in January, and a new name has emerged for this position, and it is Gabriel Moscardo. This is coming in from Joaquin Pereira from Sport, who of course is the #1 source in regards to Brazilian players joining Barcelona. He's come out saying that Gabriel Moscardo is one of the Brazilian jewels who Deco likes the most. He's a 17-year-old defensive midfielder who played for Corinthians. Chelsea wanted him, but the negotiations now have cooled down. Corinthians want around 30 million euros for the player. Now, the question is, does Barcelona have 30 million euros to spend on a 17-year-old? That remains to be seen. I think there are better options out there at the moment. I've seen some highlights of Moscardo. He looks very, very good, but again, in the Brazilian league at 17, it is still a massive, massive gamble. I'm looking at Fabricio Diaz. He's Uruguayan. He's a bit more established. I believe he's 19, just won the Under-19 World Cup as well. He's only 9 million euros, so this will come down to how much does Deco bet on this player. Again, the scouting reports are very, very high on Moscardo, and it's just a question now of whether Barcelona will risk it and spend 30 million euros on a 17-year-old. That probably will be the most expensive under 20, you could say, signing in the history of Barcelona. It would be a big risk. Would you sign for Barca Athletic, have him there for a year, then bring him to the first team? Would you sign him, then send him out on loan immediately? Will you sign him and put him right into the first team? There's all the if, buts, and maybes surrounding the signing, but we'll wait and see. It's very, very clear that in the January transfer window, the club will be trying to reinforce the pivot position, and Moscardo is another name to add to that list. Now, another player from the Brazilian league who Barcelona also want to sign in January is, of course, Vitor Roque, a player that we've already signed last summer, who's now just about incorporating his signing. I want to remind you guys that in the official statement that Barcelona released in July, they did say that Vitor Roque will be joining in the summer of 2024. Just keep that in mind. Now, Rogelero from Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona are clear that the priority for the January transfer window is the arrival of Vitor Roque. What we were hearing a lot in the summer is that Vitor Roque will come in January, but of course, you have your main boy FFP that can be the issue. Do Barcelona have space on FFP right now to register Vitor Roque? We heard that the Barcelona's remaining FFP was only 400,000 euros for the entire year, and that was of course given to Joao Felix. Was that already incorporating the arrival of Vitor Roque? Is that us all in? We have no space whatsoever. I have absolutely no idea. I think when it comes closer to January, middle of December, end of December, we'll get a true realization if it will be really easy to register Vitor Roque or very difficult. Do we need a sale? Do we need another economic lever to bring him in? That's where the question is going to be coming in. But again, keep in mind, in the official statement, Barcelona did say that Vitor Roque would arrive in the summer. So if he comes in January, he would come early. So we'll wait and see. Again, I think this will become more and more clear once we reach those holiday times, festivity, past Christmas, maybe a bit before Christmas, and that'll come to true realization. We can sign Vitor Roque or register him, so I say, in January. Again, we've already signed him, 30 million euros plus 30 million euros in variables already agreed. I don't think Barcelona have paid Atletico Palmeiras yet. I think the first installment will be when he joins either in the summer or in January. So again, everything fully agreed. He's already signed, and it's just now down to when he will arrive, which the club, of course, are planning for January. Let's now discuss the players who have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past few days. The only player that has been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past few days has been Robert Lewandowski, with Esport 3 saying that Saudi Arabia will try to sign Robert Lewandowski in January. Fabricio Diaz did confirm that there was heavy interest from Saudi for Lewandowski the past summer, and they could come back in January. Look, the reality is for Robert is that, look, he is on the bit of a decline. I think he's still a world-class striker, but I think since after the World Cup, he really hasn't shown it. I think since the World Cup, I don't even know if he had double digits in goals, probably just has 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 at most if you're counting friendlies and preseason. I think the only way, personally, in my opinion, I would let Lewandowski go for in January is probably around a bid of 80 million. If they bid 80 million for Lewandowski, I would accept it. I don't think the club will. I think the club are looking for 100 million because Lewandowski is so difficult to replace, not in the sense of, his quality on the pitch, but also off the pitch. He's a big player for the dressing room. He's a leader, of course. His experience is something that you cannot just buy, but everyone has their price. I think 100 million, the club would probably accept it. I think if an 80 million bid comes in, they'll probably negotiate, see how things go. Of course, Lewandowski has a big part of this as well. He has to accept that move. He could just say no and end up staying at Barcelona, but we'll wait and see. I honestly don't think Saudi Arabia would bid more than 50 for Lewandowski, which in that case I would reject, because I think Lewandowski is worth 50 million from January 2024 to the summer of 2025 when his contract does expire. Maybe in the summer when we have the 1 year left on his deal and the season's over, we wait and see what we win and stuff. Maybe then Saudi Arabia could really tempt him and Barcelona. But I think January, middle of the season, depends on where we're at. If we're out of the Champions League, God forbid, mid-table in La Liga, whatever the case may be. But I think a bid of around 80 to 100 would tempt Barcelona. Anything under that, really, Barcelona would probably brush away. They have already, of course, rejected a 40 or 50 million bid in the past summer. So we'll see what happens with Lewandowski, but Saudi Arabia are planning another bid for the Polish striker in the January transfer window. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. We have some massive updates. Firstly, on the contract renewal of the first team manager, Xavi Hernandez, which we're now hearing is a fully done deal. Of course, in the last video, I told you there was some bit of skepticism, bit of rumors saying that's always not done quite yet. But now we got the confirmation, which actually broke from Luis Rojo from Marca. He's come out saying that Barcelona have reached an agreement to renew Xavi's contract for just one more season until 2025. His salary would double. Xavi asked for an increase in his salary. The talks were not easy, but the agreement is done. Official announcement is expected at some point this week. So he has renewed for 1 year instead of 2 because of, our brother, you guessed it, FFP, financial fair play. We also have a report coming in from Roger later from Mundo Deportivo, who confirmed this, saying that Xavi will renew his contract until 2025. Agreement closed. The coach's work has also been rewarded with a significant salary improvement as well. Fabricio Diaz has also confirmed the news as well that Xavi renews for one more season. Now, is he really warrant a double salary increase based off winning the double last season? I would suggest no, although I was talking about this with someone on Twitter. I was tweeting that I don't think Xavi is worth getting a double pay rise in his salary. To be fair though, his salary was already very, very low. I think he was earning $2 million a season, something ridiculous like that. So in that grand scheme of things, I guess double isn't too bad. Of course, you have the likes of Simeone earning $30 million net per season, which is freaking outrageous. So I understand that. 1 year, it's going to leave question marks for next summer, of course. It's not the renewal that we expected. I hope there will be the option for another year as well. That would make sense. But then again, I think even options nowadays affect with FFP as well. But it's important to give Xavi that, sense of backing. He'll probably go on a renewal every single year basis. The question now is if Xavi's doing very well, we're going on a renewal to end every year basis and we don't reach an agreement. That's where the issue comes in. You really want to tie down the coach to a mid to long term contract. That way if he does well, he won't have a lot of power in the negotiations. But it is what it is. I think Xavi has definitely earned the renewal. Double his salary, but again, he was already on a fairly low salary, so I guess it is what it is. But hopefully we get the renewal announcement of Xavi before we play Betis on Saturday. With the club's speed with the renewals and announcements, I highly doubt that. But according to reports, basically everyone's confirmed at this point that Xavi's renewal, 100% fully agreed, 1 year renewal until June 2025, and his salary will be doubled. The next contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Frenkie de Jong. Of course, in the last video, I told you guys the club are planning on making a renewal offer to Frenkie de Jong, trying to build the bridges with his agents after last summer, well, not last summer 2023, but summer 2022, that whole entire fiasco, that circus. A few days later, AS are reporting that Frenkie de Jong has already received a contract renewal offer from Barcelona. So the club moving quickly. I absolutely love to see it. We are expecting it is a renewal with a deferred salary. So he basically, his current salary, which according to reports is 37 million euros gross, which of course is before tax, but still astonishingly ridiculous. What the club will do is add a few years on his deal, but space out his payments, very similar to Marc-Andre ter Stegen. So those type of renewals can be done very, very quickly. It's just up to the player to, help the club, which of course Frenkie de Jong now fourth captain. Let's hope he does that. But again, what happened 2 summers ago will affect the negotiations. But Barcelona have already made the renewal offer, which I think is very, very important, very, very proactive as well. I like to praise the club for that heavily. And now wait and see what happens now in the ball in Frenkie de Jong and his agent's court. Will they respond quickly? Will they take their time? Will they not ignore it completely? We'll wait and see. We'll also wait for further confirmation as well. But according to reports, Barcelona have already offered Frenkie de Jong a contract renewal on the table, and that's up to Frenkie de Jong and his camp to review the offer and accept it, decline it, or begin negotiation. And the final contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Lamine Yamal. As we all know, since bloody May, that Lamine Yamal has renewed his contract for 3 years until 2026. He signs his first professional contract with Barcelona. Of course, 3 years isn't that really long of a length, but as a 16-year-old, that is the maximum length he can sign. But Fernando Polo from Mundo Deportivo is reporting that Lamine Yamal will sign a contract renewal for 3 years, of course, which is the maximum for his age. But his agent Jorge Hernandez and Barcelona have already agreed that when he turns 18 in 2025, he will sign a renewal for 5 more years until 2030. For me, that is absolutely fantastic news because that's one renewal already off our plate. Of course, in the last video, I told you guys that we have a lot of players contract that expire in 2026. Frenkie de Jong, Pedri, Araujo, Gavi, and Naki Pena. Crucial for Barcelona to renew these players before then, at least a year and a half before that. And again, Lamine Yamal was one of those names until 2026, but there's already an agreement that when he turns 18, he will renew for the maximum 5 years until 2030. Of course, that is absolutely fantastic news. But I think, again, it depends on how his future goes. If he plays well in the first team, all that sort of stuff, definitely. But if he tends to fall off, have a big injury, there may be step backs in regards to those renewals, but let's hope that's not the case. Again, we basically can say that we have agreed an 8-year contract with Lamine Yamal. Maybe there's some things that change if he gets into the Ballon d'Or top 30 next year, the year after that. He may ask for more money, but as for now, there is a agreement in principle, you could say, for Lamine Yamal when he turns 18 to automatically renew his contract with Barcelona for 5 years. Again, as a 16-year-old signing his first deal, he can only sign for a maximum of 3. When he turns 18, though, he has full freedom, and he plans then to sign a 5-year contract with Barcelona. So essentially, Barcelona has secured the future of Lamine Yamal until at least 2030. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past few days. We do have a few topics that we have to discuss in regards to general news. First, we do have some updates around Andreas Christensen, how he's seen as a backup to Joao Romeu in the pivot position. Ferran Martinez from Deportivo came out saying that Andreas Christensen is an option that Xavi and the other coaches are considering as a pivot if they have to replace Joao Romeu for some reason. This will keep Gundogan and De Jong in their current, more advanced positions. Very, very interesting. And I think, again, this is a good move by Barcelona. Of course, you do have some center back coverage. You do have Inigo Martinez, Jules Koundé, Christensen. You can put Christian in the pivot to rest Romeu if he gets injured or suspended. In comes in Inigo Martinez alongside Koundé. I think that'd be a very, very good center back partnership. And then you also have to keep, you get to keep the Gundogan and De Jong in those advanced interior roles, so to, take it away from their ability and dropping them back a bit in the pivot, which of course Gundogan has done for City. He can do it. Of course, he played that in the Champions League final in 2020. We've seen Frenkie de Jong playing the pivot a lot, even in recent matches for around 10 to 15 minutes. I think the Christian idea is very, very good. She's not down to testing him out and seeing how he does. Of course, last season, we tested Eric Garcia there. He was okay, but again, we didn't really see him that much. So watch out for Andreas Christensen being an option in the pivot from now until January, as Barcelona see him as probably the next player in line. Again, in the plan in January is to bring in another pivot, but for now, they will bet on Andreas Christensen. In other news, Ferran Torres has been called up to the Spanish national team as a backup, as Marcus Asensio and also Dani Olmo picked up injuries. It was originally reported from Ferran Martinez from Deportivo, and it has now been confirmed, of course, and official, that he has been called up. De La Fuente, the manager, did mention in a press conference yesterday that Ferran Torres is doing very well, just needs a bit more confident, more game time, and he'll be a shooting to be called up every single time for the national team. They do play Cyprus, of course, in the coming days. I believe it's either tomorrow or the day after. We'll see if Ferran Torres gets minutes. Probably not, I don't think, unless someone gets injured. Again, he's been called up as a 5th option with 2 wingers already down. I believe it was him and Yeremy Pino from Valencia, the 2 that were called up to replace Asensio and Dani Olmo. So you could say he's the 3rd, 4th choice winger option for Spain, which, to be honest, is not too bad for him. But hopefully this does his confidence very well, shows that he's done good work from the summer until now. Hopefully this will help his confidence as well. But big move from Ferran Torres to be called up for Spain, and hopefully that will help when he comes back with Barcelona as well. Next up in terms of news is the situation in regards to the number 10 jersey at Barcelona. As we all know, it's a very iconic number in Barcelona, and it was vacant for Joao Felix to take when he was signed for Barcelona, but according to reports, neither Joao Felix nor Barcelona want him to wear it. Tony Juan Marti from Sport came out saying that neither Joao Felix want to wear number 10 at Barcelona despite it being vacant, nor did the club offer it to him. Felix knew the weight of the number 10 shirt and wanted a less media-friendly number to stay away from the spotlight. If the spotlight falls on him, he wants it to be for footballing reasons, although taking Ansu Fati's number 10 would have added fuel to the fire that Jorge Mendes pushed Ansu Fati out to bring in Felix as well. Moreover, it's currently unknown what will happen next season and whether Felix will stay at Barcelona beyond 2024, and also the future of Ansu Fati as well. Barcelona as a club also considered the most ideal thing was to keep the 10 shirt vacant this season as well. So Joao Felix didn't want the number 10, and neither did Barcelona want to give it to him. I think that was absolutely 100% the correct decision. Ansu Fati is our number 10, and until the day we sell him, we don't give that shirt to anyone. I believe he will come back and show us why we trusted him with the number 10 shirt back in 2021 when Leo Messi left. And I still believe to this day, I think giving Felix the number 10 would have created so much controversy around Jorge Mendes, his influence on the club. Are we going to sell Ansu Fati next summer? Are we going to buy Joao Felix next summer? I also think number 14 as well. It's a very good number at Barcelona, very iconic. You could say the number of Johan Cruyff for Netherlands. I think Johan Cruyff did wear number 9 a lot with Barcelona as well, but still a very good number, and less pressure, of course. And I think keeping that number 10 vacant is absolutely crucial. To be honest, I don't want to see anyone else wear it other than Ansu Fati. Until the day we sell Ansu Fati is the day that I'll be more open to see someone else wearing that number. Even if Ansu Fati comes back and we loan him out again, I still wouldn't give the number 10 to anyone else. I really, really wouldn't. It's a very delicate number, comes with absolutely immense amount of pressure, and I don't think Joao Felix was ready for it either. Neither were Barcelona to give it to Joao Felix either. Next up in the news is in regards to Fermin Lopez, who did play some minutes for Barca Athletic midweek to keep up with his match fitness and rhythm and preparation for Barcelona's game against Betis this weekend. Tony Juan Martí came out saying that Fermin Lopez himself asked Xavi earlier this week to play for Barca Athletic the other day. He did not want to lose his competitive rhythm during the break, and Xavi accepted it for two reasons. One, that Fermin Lopez gains rhythm by playing during the break. Secondly, because he is more than delighted with the player's attitude and agreed to his request. Fermin is humble and hardworking. He knows that in the short term he'll play more for Barca Athletic than the first team, although he is practically in Xavi's first team squad. Now, the match did take place. Fermin Lopez was sent off. He got a red card, 2 yellows. I think he only played about an hour. We heard reports that afterwards in the dressing room he was crying after getting that red card, which means that he does have to serve a suspension. 1 game suspension because it was the second yellow, but he will not miss the match against Betis because according to reports, Barca Athletic do play on Friday or Saturday morning, I believe. Barca Athletic do play a few hours before the first team, and that's even though Fermin Lopez was not going to play in that match whatsoever. That's when he will serve his red card suspension. So he will be available for selection for the match against Betis this weekend should Xavi want to bet on him, but he did pick up a red card in the match, which is very, very unfortunate. Also very surprising for an attacking midfielder to get 2 yellow cards. Nonetheless, it is what it is. He was very disappointed with himself. I think Marc Cansado, one of the captains of Barcelona, I think he is the captain of the Barca Athletic, came after the match and that yes, he cried at the end of the game. He's very disappointed in himself, but we all back him, of course. So a bit of a weird situation with Fermin Lopez, you know, going out there saying I want to play with Barca Athletic. Of course, I'm a Barcelona Athletic member on paper. Plays, gets a red card at risk of being suspended for the match against Betis this weekend, but in theory, he will be available for selection. Let's now discuss some of the injury updates surrounding Barcelona over the past few days. We do have one update on the injury of Pedri. Of course, we only have 2 injured first team players in Pedri and Araujo. We're expecting Araujo to return either this week or next week. But for Pedri, there's still a ways to go. Gabriel Moscardo from Deportivo came out saying that Pedri's recovery is going very well, but he will not return until mid-October after the second international break. Barcelona and the player himself don't want to take any risk. I mean, fair enough, I completely agree, but we haven't taken risks with Pedri for any of his injuries, but yeah, he comes back and gets injured again, which is, of course, is very, very unfortunate. Injuries are part of football, I understand that, but when it's the same player, same time of the season, every single season, it is a bit concerning nonetheless. But again, Pedri will not see him until end of October, which of course is the time of El Clasico. Will Pedri come straight back in after not playing for 2 months? Remains to be seen, but I don't think Pedri will be fit or at least starting for Barcelona in the Clasico at the end of October, but that's the planned return date for Pedri around the end of October, beginning of November time. Now, we do have some news around the Barcelona boardroom where they're all very happy and satisfied with the work being done around the wage bill. Alex Pentel from Relevo came out saying that in the 2020-2021 season before Bartomeu's resignation, Barcelona's wage bill had skyrocketed to 708 million euros, which was the highest in Europe, and the squad was not near the level and not winning anything. According to the data exceeded by EFE, the club's wage bill currently stands at 404 million. Last season, it was at 566. Of the 25 players in the 2020-2021 season, only 6 are still at the club. Ter Stegen, Iñaki Peña, Araujo, De Jong, Roberto, and Pedri. So again, last summer we did, reduce around 150 million euros off the wage bill, which is absolutely astonishing. And also the work that was done from that squad that Laporta inherited to now has been ridiculous. He's got rid of every single player except for 6. Of course, we do have some out on loan. Lenglet was there, Des was there, Ansu Fati was there, so those are some names to keep in mind as well, but the overall work around it has been absolutely extraordinary. And of course, during that work, we did have the situation of the Negreira case, which did, of course, hinder Barcelona quite a bit. And there are reports coming in from La Vanguardia that say that the La Liga president, Javier Tebas, provided false information in the Negreira case to harm Barcelona. This false information was one of the big main triggers in the case and the aggressiveness of the prosecutor's office in its complaint against Barcelona, and it also had a major impact in spreading it to the rest of the media and television. Wow! Am I surprised? Absolutely not. The day Javier Tebas is no longer the La Liga president is the day that La Liga will go back on the rise. Again, there is no other league out there with the restrictions and rules with financial fair play as La Liga do. I mean, we are working in the summer with 2 hands and a leg tied behind our back. We're hopping on 1 leg trying to build the squad. I think what Laporta has done is the greatest thing we've ever seen in the club's history in the sense of where we were when he came in and where we are now. We're, starting Aspire Barca project, the club is very healthy. We have a decent wage bill, excellent squad, good manager, from what we had then. A ridiculous wage bill, Messi, Suarez, plus others essentially. No Espai Barca, no finance whatsoever, broke as hell. All this as well with the La Liga president against the club. I mean, it's an absolutely astonishing. I do think that the relationship now with Laporta and Javier Tebas is okay, which did help a lot in the summer, but very, very clear that Javier Tebas does have an agenda against Barcelona, and once he's no longer the president, I think Barcelona will be in a much, much healthier spot than we are right now, and also La Liga will be in a very healthy spot as well. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss before I end off this video is give you guys an update on some of the work currently that Deco is working on as the sporting director, and the first action of business that he has summoned all these scouts to Barcelona for a meeting. Relivo have come out saying that Deco has asked all the scouts to be present tomorrow in Barcelona where he'll be officially presented. He wants to meet them personally. Barcelona's challenge is to detect young talent before anyone else, and for that to happen, everyone needs to be on the same wavelength. This is a huge move by Deco. He wants to bring in all the scouts, make sure they all have the same idea. We're looking for the same type of profile player, and we want to get those names sorted out before anyone else in Europe does. Of course, the official organization chart of the sporting sector has still not been released yet. We are expecting that to be coming out hopefully in the next few days, if not maybe next week. Again, with Barcelona, things come out very late before they're already official. Again, Deco was sporting director. June the 1st wasn't announced until what, 2-3 weeks ago. So Barcelona kind of acting slow in that sense, but again, the work being done behind the scenes is always at fast pace. So Deco's going to bring all the scouts to Barcelona, have a meeting tomorrow, make sure they're all on the same wavelength. We're looking for the same type of players, everyone's on the same wavelength, we're all in harmony. Again, the goal is to make Barcelona the best team in the world, and to do that, you need to bring in young, talented players at their lowest point, that way they peak at Barcelona. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past few days. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. The main thing I want to first see, of course, is your thoughts on the signing of Vitor Roque in January. Do you believe it will happen or not? You think we'll be able to register him and bring him in? Second, your thoughts on the pivot acquisition. Who would you bring in? Would you bring in Moscardo, Fabricio Diaz, Guido Rodriguez, or another name? Would you even bring in a pivot in January? Would you just bet on Christensen to fill that role for the entire season? Third, your thoughts on the renewal of Xavi for only 1 year but with double the salary. And finally, your thoughts on the offer, that renewal that Barcelona offered Frenkie de Jong. Think he'll accept it or not? Think he'll reject it? Think he'll want to negotiate it? Do you think he will defer salary like they're staying in or not? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca. Yeah.